Good morning. This is Roxann Jones with Health Systems Division with the statewide problem gambling prevention program. And we are going to start off our morning with reviewing our agenda and um, moving forward from there. So we are recording the meeting today. So please use your chat box if you need to get our attention. Thank you. So we have a pretty full agenda today, and so my hope is we can get through all of it and still have plenty of time for sharing at the end of the day, which is a real important part of this meeting. And so we will try to move through the things that we can move quickly through, but here's our agenda for today. So quickly, I just wanted to welcome everybody who's on the call. So it looks like today we have Andy Cartmill from Washington County, Claire and Heather from Columbia, Danette Killinger from Lynn County, Deanne Mansfield with Union, Emily Mossberg with Jackson, Jessica McDonald is hailing from Deschutes County, Katie Plum is with us from Crook, Kim Hack from Cascadia, Nancy Martin is with us from Multnomah County, Rebecca Knight is with Yamhill, and Susan McLaughlin from Marion County. If there is anyone that I have missed, go ahead and put your boy, let's see, I'd have to unmute everybody. So if I've missed you, I'll unmute everybody toward the end and see if I've got anybody I need to add in. So with that, just a quick reminder that our meetings, we did switch them up a little bit to accommodate me participating in the DHS OHA Leadership Academy that happens on the third Wednesday and Thursday of every month up through, we finish up fortunately in May, so we'll be able to get back onto our regular schedule. So here's our schedule for the next few months of when our meetings will be, so that you guys can have that for your calendars and planning. And then the next all provider meeting is scheduled for March 15th. And that runs from 9 until 10:30. It's a webinar, and so registration is required for that. And we had made an agreement when we first started that we would, on the months that there were all provider meetings, that we would move the prevention meeting off of that month. So we will not have a prevention call in March because there will be the all provider call. And then just also a good reminder is that the 2018 training calendar is up on the Oregon PGS website, which will give you the links to when things are webinars, as well as the go-to meetings and any other additional trainings that we have. We've been trying to add that to that schedule as well. So if you're looking for a training and you're not sure about the link or where it's happening at, go ahead and check out that training calendar on the Oregon PGS provider website. Let's see, just a quick thing in regards to our Problem Gambling Prevention Advisory Council. The council has been meeting on the committee, the committee's been meeting on the first Tuesday of the month from 10 to 11:30. Our numbers have decreased with folks moving on to different positions, etc. So we are actually looking for some additional members to join our Prevention Advisory Council. So if you're interested, please let me know. One of the other things is that the Prevention Advisory Council is also serves as our workforce development committee. And so we're just trying to kind of minimize the number of meetings that people had. And so we have that as part of our committee. So if you're interested in either being on the advisory council or just joining us to be on the workforce development committee, please let me know. We can adjust the agenda for the advisory council's meeting to put workforce development toward the front of the agenda. So folks who may want to only be on the workforce development committee can sign in for that portion of the meeting. We don't see that the Workforce Development Committee will have to be a huge commitment for an extended period of time. We would just come back and visit it as trainings were needed, but we also have some additional things we're working on right now. So if you are interested and like to participate, please email me. We would love to have you join us. The meetings do take place as currently they're a go-to meeting, but we may switch them to webinar if need be. To make sure that we can accommodate the needs of everybody. So again, email me if you'd like to participate on the committees. Other training opportunities that have come up recently is we received an email from the Iowa Department of Public Health with their gambling treatment program, and they're presenting a Looking to the Horizons Trends in Problem Gambling for Prevention, Treatment, and Recovery Services, a 6-part webinar. Registration's free for that. For all of the webinars, and so we'll be sending out the link after this meeting so that you guys, if you have interest in any of the topics, they're heavy more on the treatment component in, but there are some prevention related topics that might be of interest to you, and then they're offering CEUs out of Iowa. Again, those will be Iowa CEUs. So, and then we received information also about the Problem Gambling Network of Ohio is offering some free gambling home studies. So there's a couple of webinars as well as then that are live webinars, and then there's some participation home study webinars that you could sign up for as well that may be of interest. One of the topics they have for one of their main webinars, their live webinar that looked of interest out of Ohio, was gambling behaviors among young adults. And then the home study topics were there's one on gambling and the older adult, and then a brief introduction of problem gambling prevention, which might be of interest to some folks. So as we become aware of training opportunities across the state, we can definitely take a look to see, take a look, but actually share that information. And we can check in with ACBO to see if they will accept those CEUs as part of folks who are working towards certification or for recertification. So we'll check in with ACBO to see if they will accept those and get that information back out to you guys. So again, this is just really when we're looking at our workforce development, one of the things is that we're really trying to assess what is going on, what is already out there, and what are the needs specific to problem gambling. Identify whatever gaps that we might have, and then come up with some strategies. Some of those strategies will probably look at online options, because we know that our coordinators they come in at various times of the year, and quite frequently it's very hard to attend a training, or there aren't trainings that are being offered when you first start. And so we want to make sure that information is readily available. So online trainings are one of the options we're definitely looking at. And then we want to develop our multi-year plan, so we know what we're going to be offering, where our gaps are, and what we need to add in there, so that when we have training opportunities, we can make sure that we are following a plan to implement those. So again, that's implementation, and then evaluating those, and kind of going back and looking again to see what we need to assess. So we are needing to develop ongoing workforce development opportunities for folks who have been in the field, as well as finalizing and coming up with the plan for our new coordinator training that is going to be required for all of our providers. And again, really looking at those online options to make sure that we have that availability, but we also still recognize the importance of coming together and the networking component of that, as well as learning together as a cohort of problem gambling prevention coordinators. So definitely we'll have both types of opportunities, both in-face and online. Just a quick update. I sent out an email, but just a reminder that we have the problem gambling prevention contracted with Pauline Martell to offer a problem gambling prevention ethics training. So it will be her ethics training that Pauline has done in the past, but we'll be meeting with her also to ensure that it has that problem gambling flavor to it as well. That is free. It's a 6-hour training that will be happening in Eugene. So a big thank you to our partners in Eugene through Julie Hines, who found us a free location to offer the training so that we could keep the costs down. Registration is required for that. Sent out the link. We're using Eventbrite for folks to register, and so we'll also send out this information again, so you guys will have it in case you are in need of picking up an ethics class. So, wanted to quickly just talk about the changes that we are currently going through here at Health Systems Division with the Problem Gambling Service Program. As you guys all know, when substance abuse prevention moved to public health, we are now two very separate programs, though we do look for opportunities to work together and collaborate. And we know that much of the work that problem gambling prevention has done has been integrated not only into substance abuse, but other areas like suicide prevention and emotions. There's a lot of work that's happening around social and emotional health, et cetera. And so we're definitely an integrated program into those areas, but each program has its own requirements. And so when that move occurred, the OAR that was out there for both substance abuse prevention and problem gambling as a combined OAR was under Health Systems Division, which then left Health Systems Division the responsibility of basically enforcing the rule. With close review of the rule and working with our liaison at the Department of Justice, it became very clear that problem gambling prevention could not enforce the rule as it was written due to the statutes that were in the rule were all substance abuse statutes. There was no mention of any problem gambling statute in the rule. So at further review, looking at the size of our program and the necessity for a rule, it was determined that we would edit ourselves out of the existing rule while public health and other Oregon Health Authority staff look at how they need to move forward with whether public health has a rule or not. Still are that's under review. But we still needed to make sure that we were able to move our program forward and not have the inability to enforce a rule that was too broad for our program. And so we are currently editing ourselves out of the rule. We'll be moving our language into the service element language. And so the service element language is now at our Office of Contracts and Procurement, and where they are looking at amending that language, and it will be sent out to all of your agencies as part of your contract, as part of a contract amendment with the new service element language. So that service element language update will probably be finalized, I would say in late spring, because it takes that time for everything to go out for signature, your organizations to sign it and send it back for it to be fully executed. And then at the same time, there's a rulemaking hearing around the edits that are happening to the OAR. And so there was some general housekeeping things where they cleaned up some language issues within that rule, and then also removed problem gambling prevention. So we did send out to all of you the information about that hearing. It's happening on February 15th. It's an opportunity for and then by February 17th is the last opportunity for written and public comments in regards to the removal of problem gambling prevention from the rule, and all of that is sent to our HSD rules coordinator. So just wanted to keep you in the loop on that. And then quickly, I'm going to have, let's see, I wanted to give you the opportunity to kind of talk about what, to share with you what, to share with you what is happening within the service element. And we did have a question on whether or not it was valuable or not to attend the rulemaking hearing. And that would be if you have any comments that your organization wants to make in regards to the removal of problem gambling from the rule, from the existing rule. And so then any comments that your organization could make, you'd either attend or do by in written format, would then be reviewed. Our premise behind removing ourselves from the rule is that we cannot legally enforce it. And there's also been quite a movement for less administrative rules that comes to us from the community level as well, that they would like to have less rules. And so for the size of our program, it really didn't make sense for us to create a new rule for just problem gambling prevention. So, but anyway, yeah, attending the hearing or sending in a written comment is all within your organization's rights to do. So just to kind of reiterate, in the rule currently, the changes that's been made to it is where it says problem gambling prevention, and I don't have the rule to pull up right now, that's just been edited out. And so the rule itself will now just read for substance abuse prevention. And then public health then is still in their process of determining how they're going to move forward. So the rule will still exist, but it will be under Health Systems Division for Substance Abuse. So the change to the rule is just removal of problem gambling prevention from the rule. So anywhere that it mentioned problem gambling, that will no longer be reflected in the rule. So with the service element changes, now this is the current new version. So this is not what currently is in you guys' contract. But what it does is it reflects the changes that that have happened to our program recently. One was the piece around the fact we moved away from OPDS, and so we needed to make sure that the new information in there about the biennial implementation plan, so all of those plans that we sent out to you, that where I had taken the information from OPDS and put into a logic model for you, is your biennial implementation plan. Those are now all on record. And so the link here for if you need a blank format of the plan or would like for us to send it to you electronically, you could request. So that was the update there to reflect the change away from OPDS. And the fact that OPDS was also a monthly reporting requirement and we've moved to quarterly. So there's change there coming. And again, we're using the new stuff now. And getting everything caught up here. So again, it talks about what your responsibilities are, which was, some of these things are shifted over from the OER, but the whole piece, and we're also in our service element language. So much of what was in the OER was also in the service element language. But your responsibilities in regard to creating an implementation plan and doing the reporting, and that there's also an annual report that comes out, which is the report that's always been due on August 15th. And then, again, overseeing and coordinating the services and the activities. The new piece that we added was the completion of the Problem Gambling Prevention Coordinator Training Series, and that requirement needs to happen within 2 2 years from the date of hire. The additional information that we put out was that if you are already have your CPS, that you will not need to take the prevention training series unless you've not taken a problem gambling 101 training, and then you would need to take that part of the training, but your CPS should cover every other piece of that. So if you have CPS or have been getting most of the training requirements for that, you could share those with us and those would count toward that. We just want to make sure that all of our providers do get the problem gambling 101. And then we added, this was new for number 5, was the attending a minimum of 15 hours of Oregon Health Authority Problem Gambling Services approved trainings per biennium. So that's over the 2-year time period. We added that in, and this is separate from the Prevention Coordinators Training Series, but this was to allow for many of our providers, if it's not in their contract, weren't able to attend, like our fall gathering or other trainings that we've offered because they weren't required to. And so we wanted to put that out there so that it would allow for folks to attend at least one of our trainings per year, our face-to-face trainings that we offer, so that you'll have a little bit more behind you if you're wanting to attend that training. And again, this isn't in our service element language, this is really off to the side, but we also know that our funding is limited, and then we always have offered and will continue to, as long as our funds are available, subsidies to folks to make sure that they can attend our trainings so that we can remove the hardship of the cost from that. And we do not charge for our trainings. We do not charge, so that also that keeps the cost down, so it limits it to the time away from the office as well as your travel and lodging and food. So, but we do make every effort to make sure that we can help with those things. Where in the OER it required you to have a written comprehensive policy on gambling in the workplace by program participants and staff, we've added that now into our service element language because we do want to keep that component. And let's see. There was the information around the trauma-informed care policy, which was part of your service element language before. Again, just switching from OPDS to the biennial implementation plan. And when reports and stuff are due. So that has remained the same. So those are the major changes to the service element language. I just wanted to share that with you. We had a question about when does the Problem Gambling Prevention Coordinator Training Series. We are still in the process of pulling that all together to make sure that we have what the requirements are. We will try to offer as many of those trainings as possible for you. Other things you may be able to get within your own community. So as far as a formal, here's the dates these training series will happen, it's going to look a little different. There will be training requirements that you will then need to get, and we will be offering as many of those as we can, either face-to-face or online. So our hope is to have everything finalized by spring, so that as this new service element language information gets to you and becomes part of your contract, then you'll have the training series information that you'll be able to go to the Oregon PGS page to find. So again, I want to reference, point out that this is not in your contract yet, so you do not need to complete the prevention training series now. It's not a contract requirement. So currently, your contract is still kind of requiring that you get your CPS, and so we're offering waivers to folks for that until we can get the new contract language in place. If you are going to bump up against being out of compliance because you haven't gotten your CPS within 2 years of your hire date. if you don't currently have your CPS but have attended a cohort or have training hours, please keep all your certificates because you may already have everything you would need for the prevention training series. One of the things that we'd found that was missing in some of the cohorts was there wasn't a very thorough problem gambling 101, and so that might be the only piece that folks may need to take. So very strongly encourage people keep your certificates, and then we can match them up to what will be the areas in the prevention training series that you would need to complete. So I want to make sure I haven't missed any other questions. I think I've gotten them all. Okay, so approximately when will the contracts be amended? Any idea? Again, we are looking at our contracts probably being the contract amendments because it's a language change, has to go through our Office of Contracts and Procurement and then on to the Department of Justice, and then it comes back, and if there's any changes that need to be made, those changes get made, they then get finalized again, and then they go out to the community providers. So we are probably looking at May or June for those. So that is an approximate idea of when the contract will be amended. So I know it kind of puts things into a state of flux. The one thing we do have in place is your reporting requirement around using the new reporting tool. It's just a little less than what was required of you before, currently in the contract because OPDS is no longer standing. So that is that with the service element. Okay. So if I missed anything or if anybody has any questions, feel free to get it through the chat or also feel free to give me a call because I want to make sure I'm catching everybody's questions and thoughts here. Looks good. Okay. So, all right. Oh, it didn't start. There we go. Sorry, guys. Next, just wanted to talk about the prevention data collection quarter one. So I really appreciate the fact that people were able to go back and pick up everything from July through September. The comments that we've received back in regards to the data collection system with a few tweaks that we've made regarding the comments have all been positive. Folks have found it easy to navigate. So if you're having a different experience from that or you have any feedback in regards to it, please do let us know. We have received data from all of our contracted providers, which is great. We were able to close out the link for quarter one and get that information sent on to our contracts unit so that we are in compliance there. Quarter two is in the process of there's still a few folks that need to get their quarter two data in, so I will be sending out emails about that today to those folks who still need to get their quarter two data in. And then this is the dates for quarter three and quarter four data. So in lieu of having to enter monthly data, you're entering it quarterly. You will still have an annual report due. The annual report form is on the Oregon PGS under reporting requirements for prevention, but we will also be sending that out to folks because we really like to make sure that everybody has everything they need to make sure they're in compliance with annual reporting, et cetera. And again, like I mentioned earlier, the service element language is being updated to reflect these new changes to the biennial plan and data collection. Also, if anybody needs a copy of their quarter one or quarter two, if you've already submitted data and would like us to pull that for you into a spreadsheet, I'll be happy to do that. So that you can look back at what you've already reported. With the way we're using the SurveyMonkey, we have had to do a new link for each quarter. And so please make sure when you are reporting that if you're reporting on quarter one, that you select quarter one, the same thing for quarter two, three, or four, so that and make sure that your data gets into the correct month, because though it's a separate link for each each quarter, if we do a sort by quarter for information, it will sort from both links. So we're learning as well that, as we move through this, but we've had some great feedback. We've added, hopefully, folks have noticed, we added that the survey will tell you at the end, thank you when you're done. And I know that it was of concern for some folks. They would see that there were unanswered questions, and that's because we added several opportunities for people to report on goals, because some programs have more than one or two goals. They may have 3, 4, or 5. So when it shows that there's additional pages, that just means that there's, even though you've responded, you have no more to answer, there are still more pages to the survey. And I haven't quite figured out how to get rid of that look. So, but anyway, hopefully the reporting tool through the data collection tool through SurveyMonkey is working for folks. And again, if you have any problems, please let me know. And if you haven't done your Q2 data, please do so that we can make sure that we can, while working with our contracts department, we have everything that we need to show that we are enforcing what we need to be collecting. So moving forward, at the substance abuse, or let's see, I guess it was public health meeting that they had for all of their providers, the grantees. I believe that was in November. One of the things that came up, they were talking about their alcohol retail survey, and some of you folks requested that they look at adding problem gambling into that survey, and then contacted me and asked me. So I did connect with public health to see about how they were doing their retail survey and if there was an opportunity to add problem gambling information into that. And they did offer at that point to an option for 2 to 3 questions. So it's not that the whole survey can also collect problem gambling information, but that we could have 2 or 3 optional questions within the survey that could also be collected. So in looking at the survey, we had to really kind of think about what questions to ask when limited to 2 to 3. But we also realized the more we dug into their survey, much of that information that would be collected, we can also still get through the Oregon lottery. And so one of the questions that was suggested was, do they sell lottery products at this store? And was like, well, we wouldn't want to waste that as our one question, or one of our 2 to 3 questions, because one, we have all the information about where lottery products are sold. And if you answered any of the other lottery questions on that specific survey, it would highlight that there were lottery products there. But basically, the lottery can tell us every place that they are selling their products, that product type that they're selling. So whether it's a traditional product such as the scratch-off tickets, if they're part of the Powerball, or you can buy Powerball tickets or Megabucks and all of those other fun things, or Keno tickets, if you can play Keno at that organization, as well as whether or not there's VLT, so video lottery terminals, or LTGs, which are their lottery to-go boxes. So we have that information that they can pull for us readily available. And then they also have their rules on machine placements for VLTs. So for the video lottery terminals, that they have to be behind, they have to be in a secure place, to where, so like if it's in a restaurant, they can't just be out on the restaurant floor. They have to be back, and they usually have those little carve outs with those doors, whether it's a swinging door or not, but it has to be kind of blocked off. And that the lottery to-go terminals need to be within a line of sight of the cashiers. So if the lottery to-go terminal has been moved over into their front lobby and there's no cashier station there, then that's a violation of their contract with the lottery. Also, in checking to see about if there are legal issues in regards to, or legal language and contract requirements for their retailers in regards to advertising lottery products on the windows, doors, or directly within entering the building. And what it boils down to, apparently, there's an equal proportion advertisement rules that has to be followed. So if it's a deli, they have to make sure that they're also advertising food, that it's not just all they're doing is advertising lottery products and alcohol products. Um, and they are, there's a certain requirements around that. And the lottery is actually working on getting policy put in regards to advertisement, because they also are concerned about the brand. I mean, it's brand recognition, but also about reputation and how things look on the stores where their products are being advertised. So there's a lot of information we can get through the lottery. We're still working on what questions could be on the alcohol retail survey that would be appropriate, that providers could select. And I believe you guys were all asked if you had additional questions you wanted to add as well. But I just wanted to point out that really we're not, I know there were some questions about, well, why not this question or that question? It really is that we are limited to a couple of optional questions on the survey. So as we know more about what those questions will be and whether or not your organization will be adding those, utilizing those, we'll be looking for feedback from you guys as well. So let's see. But what my hope is actually I would like to bring the lottery to a meeting with us to share all of the data that they can supply us that we can then use for our decision-making processes. I've dug through their contracts. It's a lot of language, but they can kind of boil it down for us and then also share with us what they do in regards to with their lottery reps, what their requirements are about how frequently they are reviewing the providers or the retailers, I'm sorry, and around product placement and what type of surveying and stuff they do, so that potentially we may be able to use what information they have available as well as we're moving forward. So let's see, next. Just a heads up reminder that the Focus on the Future conference is coming up at the end of April. We'll have more information out to you guys relatively here soon in regards to scholarshiping and stipends, et cetera, that we will be offering through our workforce development program. The other thing is that we have the opportunity to provide a Oregon prevention pre-conference workshop. So it would be on the second pre-conference day, which I believe would be, I want to say, you'd think I'd know how many days there are in April, but it's escaping me right now. So it would be on May 1st, a pre-conference day, which would be free, so that for our prevention providers who wanted to come for the conference could come in for the first day of the pre-conference in the afternoon, and we would have a meeting there. But more information about that as it comes available. I did have a couple questions come in. Be helpful to know how and where. Yeah, so there's a question about it would be helpful to know how and where to access the lottery's data. And so again, I agree with that. And I again think if we can bring the lottery to one of our meetings, they can share with us how we can find that information. And then question that could be used for 2 to 3 optional questions. I think I've got a split question here somewhere. Okay, so there was a question about would appreciate suggestions on the most helpful questions not available from the OLCC that could be used for our 2 to 3 optional questions for gambling. And so I don't know that the OLCC. Yeah, let me think on that one. Because I think the OLCC's has their requirements are much less around like advertising than what you might find for gambling products through the lottery. Um, the lottery doesn't also doesn't like a lot of the sports things. So the affiliation, like with U of O or OSU, you're not going to see that in the retail stores, but you will see them out at the games. So there's a little difference about how they advertise their information. I did just had a correction that the question wasn't about the OLCC; it was the lottery. So again, yes. So we may not be able to pull all the information in time for this alcohol retail survey that public health has planned. But I think that we could probably have a great wealth of information from the Oregon Lottery about what they're looking at. And for any future retail surveys, we might have the information. We didn't have enough lead time on this retail survey that public health was planning on doing to actually pull all of our information together. So it's kind of not been the perfect timing either. But we're working on it, and we'll see what we can do, because they're still finalizing their questions at public health. And so they're very clear about where their lottery to go machines need to be, and that you cannot, you can't put other materials on top of the lottery to go machines, so that it doesn't become kind of this is where we tack up all of our messages within the store, etc. So there's some pretty clear guidelines about that. And so I will see if they can send me anything that I haven't already discussed with them to make sure. And I'll actually send them the survey. I'm thinking on the spot here. I'll actually send the lottery the survey that public health has shared, and see if there's any areas where we could beef up on that. So more to come on that. Let's see. And then as we move off of the survey stuff, again, back into the update, just a reminder that the National Problem Gambling Conference is happening in Cleveland, Ohio this year. You can use, if you have the ability with your funds, to attend this conference if you so would like to. So again, that's why we like to make sure everybody knows what's happening and where it's at. So again, it'll be in Cleveland. The agenda and schedule for workshops is not out yet. They've taken in all of their requests for proposals, and those have been rated, but the final conference calls where they determine the workshops has not happened yet. So more to come once we know what the agenda looks like, especially around all the prevention pieces. So a reminder that we have 8 boxes left of the Problem Gambling 2018 calendars. So first come, first serve for folks wanting them. Send me an email. I've got 8 boxes left that we want to get out the door. And that the artwork is out there. Art search calendar. Gosh, I'm fumbling it today, guys. Sorry. The 2019 Problem Gambling Awareness Art Work search flyers are out. We've also had it translated into Spanish and sent that out to you as well. So look forward to seeing this year what folks have to submit in. We'll be sending out a letter with their criteria about when you need to have everything sent in to us. I believe I've already sent it out once, but we'll send it out again as well. So everybody can submit their artwork to us. I've gotten great feedback on the calendar. I've had private citizens who've seen it places who are now emailing me and requesting calendars. So that's great. So you guys have done a great job getting it out there, and folks are really enjoying it this year. Quick update for those of you who aren't aware yet, we do have a OPGR Facebook page that we requested that so that when the responsible gambling and problem gambling treatment related ads are being run, that we would have a Facebook page that was separate from the Oregon Lottery to have those up and on on Facebook. So if you have a Facebook account through your organization or yourselves and you want to like us, we would love it. Like us, follow us. That is being updated at least twice a month. We have a contract with Emergence to manage that part of that. They manage the helpline for us as well as the Facebook page. So if you have that, if you are on social media and would like to like that, that would be great. Gets us played more, the more likes and followers we have. Just a quick thing on the Positive Cultural Framework project, the qualitative interviews with random selection of prevention coordinators and stakeholders has been completed. They're working on that draft report, and once we have that information, we'll get that back out to you. The survey was really about trying to, for Montana State University to gain a better understanding of knowledge, attitudes, and beliefs related to problem gambling. So for those of you that were randomly selected and participated, thank you. An online survey will go out live in February across the state of Oregon to a list that Montana State University is purchasing to seek to gain further information. There have been vignettes created that will help rate, kind of feels like the wrong word, but determine, I guess, at what level would someone think that a scenario was a gambling problem and seek treatment, or if looking through the other lens from a bystander, what level would the gambling need to be at for someone to actually intervene as a bystander. And all of this will go into helping the development of our tools that then will come out in May of 2019. So the next training webinar that is scheduled for around our Problem Gambling Positive Cultural Framework project is for March 1st around the data collection process. So that's where they'll talk to us about how they've been collecting the data, how they're using the data, and they'll share that with you on that webinar. So we have that scheduled for March 1st. And then the Community Readiness Survey funding opportunity, we had released that utilizing the tool that comes out of Colorado State University. We had requested that folks submit a letter of intent and their proposed budget by January 15th. We had several folks request an extension. We've had 7 requests for extensions for that. And so we did grant those extensions to give folks a little bit more time. To the close of business day of January 31st. Notifications for the award of the additional funding to do the Community Readiness Survey will go out on February 7th. And then we'll work on amending the contracts to add that language. And so that will happen soon. I've already notified our contracts unit and that those amendments will be coming to them. Those move a little faster because we're just adding money versus changing language within the contract. So the review process looks a little different. But as we know more about when those projects will be started, we will be sending that out. But it looks like we have about 17 folks that will be participating. So we're excited to get that going. Okay, so, boy, I talked a lot today, sorry. We have about 11 minutes left for provider sharing. And so I'm just going to kind of go down the list, and I'm going to start with Andy Cartmeal.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Oh, great. Well, we're just keeping pretty busy here, doing an awful lot of community presentations to schools, including high schools, middle schools. Well, we've had the opportunity to, I got to speak to the regional SPED directors, which is the special education directors for school districts in multiple counties in regards to addiction, but included gambling information there. We've been utilizing at our presentations now our new audience response system, which, if you don't know what that is, it's where I can embed questions into my PowerPoint and they give clickers to the audience members, and that's allowed us to do some pre and post testing. on the gambling side of things, which I've been using in high schools. And so far, we've surveyed about 500 students roughly, and that's going very well. Otherwise, we have a new collaboration here in Washington County called Substance Use Prevention Collaboration, where our county prevention coordinators brought people together from business, faith, law enforcement, A&D stuff, and I was allowed to present on gambling there, and everyone was offered a question: should gambling be included? And overwhelmingly, gambling was. It was indicated that gambling should be included into existing A&D prevention efforts that we're doing with this collaborative. So that's kind of what we've been doing here.
Great. Thank you, Andy. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Let's see. So next I have Claire and Heather from Columbia County. Are you still with us? Okay, doesn't look like it. How about Cynthia Edwards?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes. Is this Cynthia?
Oh, yes, it's Cynthia. Hi, guys.
Okay, great.
I had, it's been kind of a different month for us because we actually moved our whole organization to a brand new facility. And so we've put a lot of effort into packing and culling and trashing and moving. So I've done a lot of that. As far as problem gambling goes, we had a couple presentations. I did one in collaboration with visiting on our other programs to our public health staff and also to our Friends of Public Health Board, give them a little bit better understanding of what we have to offer and services available. And tomorrow we will be going to a, I guess it would be like a health fair at the community college.
Great.
And that's kind of it.
Great. Thank you, Cynthia. All right. So, Darcy, are you with us?
Yes, I am with you.
Hi,
and
Darcy.
Yes, I'm. Hi. So yes, I'm from Clatsop County, and basically our main focus has been on a public awareness campaign with the documentary Screenagers, and we had, let's see, two community screenings and three high school, middle school and high school screenings in the fall time, and we are scheduled to be doing community and school viewings in the communities of Napa and Jewel in the early February, March timeframe, and we're looking to finalize a date for Seaside as well. And so it's been well received, and definitely has been a great way to just continue to really plant seeds for this conversation within our community. And I think that even though the film, there's only brief mention around online and problem gambling, it definitely does address it at some level, and definitely plants the seeds for parents understanding how impactful screen use is, and how much of a need there is to do better monitoring of youth around what their activities are. So I think it's definitely been a great tool for our community.
Great. Thank you so much, Darcy. Darlene with NARA, are you still with us?
I am.
Great.
Oh, can you hear me?
We sure can.
Oh, okay. Yeah, actually, this is my 4th week back from medical leave, but I have been able to do parenting classes, and all the boxes of calendars you sent have been distributed. I don't know how many boxes that was altogether, but I passed out the last ones at a powwow Saturday, the 20th. And I attended the Women's Service, Multnomah County Women's Services Breakfast, and I was really excited to have two organizations approach me and ask me to do a presentation at their program. And at the powwow, I had another person approach me and ask me to do a presentation at their program. And then I'll be doing a prevention presentation out at our residential on the 23rd. And I'm just getting a background check for going out to our youth residential program out at Gresham with Nara to speak with the youth out there. And so that's some of the things that I can think of that I've been able to do in these few weeks. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Darlene, and welcome back. We're glad to have you back. So sounds like you've been busy since you've gotten back to hit the ground running. So
yeah.
Look
forward to see you tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll be seeing you tomorrow. So great.
Okay.
Next, we have Deanna Thrall. Deanna's new, joining us from, let's see, Harney County. Deanna, this is just an opportunity to share if you have anything you would like to share with the group, or you can also let us know you'd like to pass. Okay, not hearing anything from Deanna at this point. So how about Deanne Mansfield? Hi, Deanne. I've unmuted you. Sorry, I had you muted.
Oh, good. Okay. And I was muted too, so okay. I never quite trust my technology, but
right, me either.
I've been busy working to meet the 31st deadline and then gearing up for the art search. And I'm not sure if this is the right time to ask the question, but I figured I'd just go ahead. I have the opportunity to join in. We usually bring the OLCC over. Our coalition does once a year to do, or it's, yeah, once a year, I guess. We've talked about making it twice a year, but they're coming to do an ID check training for our alcohol vendors and retailers. And so I'm just wondering where I can find some resources of what I remember other people talking about that they've joined in with those trainings with OLCC, and I'm just kind of thinking, why reinvent the wheel if I can kind of get some ideas on what other folks have done.
Yeah, we actually, I worked with Jackson and Josephine County and created a PowerPoint presentation that could be tailored, like you could delete slides. It can be as big or as little as you wanted it to be.
Okay.
So I can send you that, as well as I can, Deanne, let's see, Danette Killinger has also done the retailer training, and you could reach out to her and see how they've implemented that. And there may be others as well have done things. So, but anyway, that should be helpful. Wanted to just,
okay, thank you.
Yeah, great. And so quickly, Jessica McDonald had to jump off from Deschutes County, but she wanted to share that they have their media awareness campaign up and on board and outward facing on Facebook. They've launched a survey to assess perception of risk and frequency and type of gambling in Deschutes County among 12 to 65-year-olds. And they're also plugging in, with the problem gambling calendars and hoping to receive more entries before the deadline. Oh, not with the calendars, but the art search. So that was from Jessica, who had to pop off. I'll just keep going with who's here. So I know we're right almost at time, but Emily with Jackson County, do you have anything to share?
Hi. So yeah, we're just working on promoting the Gambling Art Contest, distributing calendars, and we also are working on developing and implementing a survey for assessing awareness of problem gambling, as well as gambling habits and perceptions in our community. So that's basically the summary of it.
Great. So Jessie from Wallowa also had to head off to another meeting, and she's just getting ready to do Stack Deck out in Joseph for their 8th graders. So they're getting started next month. So they're getting ready to implement that curriculum. So that's great. How about Katie Plum? Are you still with us, Katie? Maybe not have Katie anymore. How about Kim? And Kim, are you still with us? No? Okay.
Oh, I'm
Oh,
here.
there you
Sorry.
go. Okay, sorry. Do you have an update for us? We still got about 14 people on the phone, so.
Okay, yeah. So we've been doing this for the last few months in regards to updating our educational video that we give at presentations, and probably within the next, I'm assuming, month, we'll have the final version. So far it's about a 15-minute video of firsthand testimonies of people in recovery, and so it just kind of gives an overlay, a good education about gambling addiction. And we're hoping not to just show it at presentations, but maybe have like a little 30-second teaser on our Cascadia Problem Gambling website.
Mm-hmm.
And then another thing is just starting to gear for Problem Gambling Awareness Month. And I did have a question of what the theme is going to be this year, because when I looked up on the national website, it just has information for last year's Awareness Month.
Yeah, so that's a good question, and I should have brought that up. I got somebody unmuted. I'm feeding off of. Sorry. Let me see what I can do here. Okay, I think I caught. No, I've still got somebody. I'm sorry. So the theme for Problem Gambling Awareness Month is still have the conversation. So they're not changing that. They feel that it's universal enough that it really lends itself to stay. But they should be. I believe they are refreshing their materials. So I'm looking for that information as soon as it comes available. I will let you know. They actually hired somebody to work on refreshing that and stuff. So as we have more information about that, we will get that out to you. But the theme is have the conversation again. So quickly, Katie Plum, are you still with us? I know you said you figured out you got yourself unmuted. So do you have an update for us, Katie? Maybe not. Okay, how about Lindsay Adegay?
Oh, can you hear me okay?
We sure can. I just had to unmute you. Sorry.
Oh, perfect. I just wanted to provide a quick update. We've been trying to get Stack Deck in one of our local schools here, and they've been unable to provide us the FaceTime with their students for the 10 weeks. So I was just excited. We're in there for a different program, so we were able to get at least one extra day in their classroom. So we were able to give them a little teaser from one of the introduction lessons. So I'm hoping that'll allow us to maybe go in a little bit more this upcoming school year. So just thought that might be helpful to share as a way of trying to get the best mileage you can when you're in the schools doing ABPEP work.
I can't hear anything. Hello? It's Nancy. Okay, I'm going to write this in. Oh no, people can hear me. Well, I was just going to say I was probably going to pass, but we're doing a lot in terms of getting the reports in, getting the final report for the project, the outreach and awareness to older adults that we did, and trying to get a letter of intent done, And I'm afraid Claire Rojol is not on the line. I don't think, because she could have gone more into what she's been doing because she's our subcontract provider. But I'm glad some people can hear me. So hello. Hello to those of you who hear me, and I will stop now.
Okay,
Bye.
great. Thanks, Nancy.
Okay.
Paige, can you hear me? Okay, Rebecca, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, do you have an update?
Yeah, I can give a short one since we're super over time. I've just been teaching in one of the middle schools and promoting the art contest and passing out calendars and trying to partner with treatment. That's a big summary of what I've been doing.
Great, thanks, Rebecca. And lastly, Katie Plum sent hers in. She's having trouble with her phone for some reason, but they're promoting the art search and gearing up for their middle school health fair in February. And they've also booked a first showing of screenagers for April. Okay, so Paige, if you're still there, do you have something you'd like to share?
Hello.
Hello, Paige. We've got you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so this is actually the first time I've talked to you guys since I've been back in from August from maternity leave. So there's been a lot going on. I can't really think back quite that far, but lately we have been distributing the calendars and the information about the contest in conjunction with our annual prevention contest. We also just wrapped up the media campaign that we've been working on for the last year. We got to use a lot of different mediums. We got to use a radio PSA, a video PSA, and we also have a billboard up now. So I'm really excited to be able to share those with everyone on the website. Also did a couple of community presentations and a little bit of information distribution. So I'm excited that our community is gaining some momentum. There's some interest in people learning more about problem gambling, and I'm excited to see where that goes. Other than that, I finished the letter of intent, and I'm really excited to get started with that process.
Whoa. Great. Thanks so much, Paige. I'm having a little technical difficulty here. Part of it is I have to unmute callers sometimes that aren't tied to names to try to find out who needs to talk. So we're working through that. So thank you for those of you who hung with us for the remainder of the call. And I apologize that we went over, but I did think it was important to allow folks their opportunity to share. So our next Prevention Connect call is scheduled for February 13th. If you have any information you'd like to include on that call, please go ahead and email that to me. And if you have any questions from the call, etc., please do feel free to connect with me. With that, I hope everybody has a great day, and I will talk with you all soon. Take care and stay dry. Thanks a lot, guys.